Okay, so on this section, I want to talk about life insurance and putting it in a trust. If you've never heard the phrase life insurance and trust in the same sentence before, then please don't switch off. Listen to this next 5 minutes because it could save you tens, if not hundreds of thousands of pounds. Really don't want to overstate that how significant this might be for you if you've not come across it. Now, why would you get life insurance in the first place? Just as a little bit of context, look, we all have life insurance usually to pay off the mortgage. But you might also get life insurance in addition to that to give a lump sum to the family. So they've got a pot of money when you're not here to replace income, to cover lifestyle expenses while the kids are still at home and dependent on you. You've got those extra outgoings. It might be as a landlord that your family may not be that interested in continuing with the portfolio, so want to clear the mortgages, for example. So they've just got those properties debt-free and they can retain more of the profit. There's certainly an argument against that because of, there's impacts on future inheritance tax. However, it might be that the family want to continue building the portfolio and continue what you've started. So life insurance gives a pot of money to allow for more deposits to, like I say, continue building. So there's lots of reasons why we put life insurance in place. But here's the rub. If you've never put that in a trust, then let me just paint a scenario to give you an example. Let's assume that you've just fallen under a bus and therefore your executors are now pooling together your estate. And that equals £1 million worth of net asset. And you might think, £1 million, that's a lot of money. But it really isn't, because included in that is your domestic dwelling, your home. Then you've got the net asset of the portfolio. You may have other savings, other investments. You could easily get over £1 million. And I'm saying £1 million because that tends to be, again, without getting into detail and without this being seen as advice, that might be the threshold at which you start or your estate is liable for inheritance tax. It could be £1 million. Now, if you've got a life insurance policy, and let's say that was for £500,000, and so your executors are now wanting to put a claim in, and the insurance company pay out £500,000 on top of the million that's already been pooled. Well, now we've got £1.5 million of estate value. So that extra £500,000 is going to be liable for inheritance tax. Now, the IHT rate is 40%. So of that £500,000 that you originally thought was going to go to your next generation and to your kids or whoever your beneficiaries are, 40% of that is going to go to the Treasury, to HMRC. That's £200,000 of your £500,000 your family are not going to see, simply because it's not in a trust. Because that's what trusts do. It's essentially a wrapper, a legal document that surrounds your life insurance policy, and it takes it out of your estate, because what it means is that the life insurance policy does not belong to you. It belongs to the trust. Therefore, when it's claimed upon, the money is not part of your estate anymore. So it sidesteps the estate. Therefore, in my scenario I mentioned a little earlier, where you had £1 million worth of asset with the home, with the portfolio, with any other savings, the life insurance does not add to that value. It's completely separate. So you're not now dragged into any inheritance tax liability. Now, you might now be saying, oh, yeah, so, okay, Richard, it can save us all this money, but surely there's going to be a cost to putting this in place. Surely it's going to be very, very expensive to essentially be saving what might be tens, if not hundreds of thousands of pounds, because there's no such thing as a free lunch. Well, I beg to differ on this one, because for most people, Now, there might be more complex situations where you need specialist advice from solicitors to create a very complex trust for your needs. However, in my experience, 99% of people out there that put trusts in place can use a generic template trust. Now, these are provided by the life insurance company. So, and they'll provide them for free. And as advisors, we can help you to fill in those boxes, to fill that trust document in. And as insurance advisors, we don't charge a fee either. So not only do you get the legal templates for free, you then fill them in with, and there's no extra professional fees involved. So for most people, it's not an extra cost, it's time. So, and it might be that if you've got your life insurance in the past, certainly if you've got them online, you will not ever have heard about trust, because these comparison sites or websites where you can get cheap life insurance, you're not getting advice on them. So you're getting cheap and cheerful life insurance. And that's part of the issue, that if you don't get advice on it, you don't ever hear about things called trusts. You don't ever get an advisor putting the trust document in front of you and helping you to fill it in and putting it in place that could, like I say, mitigate this sort of tax bill. So if you're not sure whether your life insurance is in a trust, and I get that, because, you know, once the insurance is put in place, quite often it's put in a bottom drawer, it gathers dust. It's not something you take out and read on a weekly basis. So I would urge you after this piece to find your life insurance document. Is it obvious that it's in a trust? A trust document is a separate legal document, maybe 3, 4, 5, 6 pages. If you can't see any reference to it, then again, talk to us. Send us copies of your life insurance. We can look into it. We can maybe speak to the insurance company on your behalf, or you speak to the insurance company. Find out if it's in a trust. They will know if it is or not. And if it isn't, we can maybe put something in place for you without changing the life insurance. Just because it's already set up, you can quite often add the trust at a later date. So it might be that that's the advice that we give. Or it might be that actually we start from scratch and we put a new life insurance policy in place and put that in a trust at the same time. Look, the point is, get yourself a bit of advice on it. Click on the link that's under this video at the end to speak to Victoria, who's our advisor. If you don't have your own advisor, if you have, speak to them, of course. But if not, speak to us. We're more than happy to review something that's already existing and give you what might be some advice that saves you a significant amount of money.